To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You're the boy from the circus.
So I have to sing with rolls?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
The staff chose me, and I choose you.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, June 27th, 2020. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare, aspiring professional fanboy.
And I'm Sarah Nutley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And y'all, we have 4 episodes for you this week. We got a Stargirl, and then we've got the season premiere of Doom Patrol and 2 bonus episodes.
Yep. Oh, it's exciting. Sarah, it's so exciting.
Doom Patrol is back. I've missed them.
Yeah. Lots of stuff to talk about. And we have a little bit of news on the back end, some exciting stuff.
But you know what's also exciting?
What was that?
You're a new man today.
Oh, yes. Thursday, the barbershops in New York are open again, so I was able to get a haircut, and it was a very quick haircut. I was out of the chair in like 5 minutes.
After you spent all that time growing, all that hair, 5 minutes.
I told him I wanted to look like I worked for NASA in 1962, or that I sold insurance door to door in 1953. And
ma'am, have I talked to you about the Hoover vacuuming superior power? Well, I might trouble you for a bit of time to demonstrate.
Yeah. It's actually it's a lot closer to a GI cut than I thought it was going to be. But I got a number 4 on the top and 2 on the sides. So
I guess I've never given much thought to the different kinds of buzz cuts that are out there in the world, but there must be a billion. GI versus NASA versus insurance salesman versus
what? They're all the
serial
same.
Killer trying not to leave behind DNA at the scene. Yeah, I said it.
Well, the GI is kind of what I have. Like GI is like really short. Like he just took the clippers and like NASA 1962. There's a little bit there. There's a little bit on top. A little bit more like Drew Carey.
Well, you have to run your hands through something nervously while you watch your craft try to pilot the rocky terrain of the moon.
Yes. I was actually thinking more of the people in Mission Control.
They're watching in Mission Control and they're like, we got a problem, as they say.
Yeah.
Everything I know about space travel, I know from Tom Hanks. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. He's a great resource. Man, that From the Earth to the Moon, that HBO miniseries, 12 parts in a miniseries, but I was all over that. When I must have been like 10 or 12 when that show came out, and I was all excited about it.
Oh, did you want to be an astronaut for a time?
It's the kind of thing like I don't think of course, like, yeah, back in your mind, you want to be an astronaut, but I love studying it. Learning all about, Mercury and Gemini and Apollo, or I'm sorry, Gemini. For some reason, all the astronauts called it Gemini, which made no sense, but okay. But that whole history of the space race, I find fascinating. Yeah.
Well, mostly, yeah, I was going to say, I know about things from Tom Hanks, but I guess as I say it, also Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh.
In Armageddon. Those are my go-to space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be the best part of that movie.
every part of that movie is the
Yeah.
best part of that movie. How dare you?
Yeah. Well, him and Steve Buscemi.
Owen Wilson is also very good. Yeah. Michael Clark Duncan. The whole part is the best part. The end.
Owen Wilson. Oh, you always forget Owen Wilson's in that movie.
I never forget Owen Wilson. The most terrifying environment imaginable. That's all I had to say. The most terrifying environment imaginable.
I just, she's exploring. I know what she's like to be that age, and she's exploring her body and everything.
You're like 3 seconds older than her.
You're about 5 minutes older than Grace. Oh, fun times.
Welcome to the Armageddon Appreciation Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. Joining me today is Ed.
Yeah, and I'll say thank you for listening and helping us out. If you haven't yet, please rate and review us. That helps people find us. Also, if you do want to be extra helpful, we're part of Wicked Theory Studios, which is a patreon.com/Wicked Theory, and you can help us with our overhead, bandwidth and such. And there's a bonus podcast there for you to listen to called Ed Bonds with Bill, where I take our executive producer Bill Sweeney and make him watch James Bond movies. Our most recent episode was A View to a Kill, which was the last of the official Eon canon James Bond movies. And actually right after this, the day that we're recording this episode, I am planning to show Bill the first unofficial James Bond movie that we'll post sometime next week.
Oh, I bet he is excited.
He's something. All right,
Do you
Sarah.
think he wakes up on Ed Bonds with Bill days and just, lays in bed with his eyes on the ceiling thinking, how did everything in my life come to this?
I'm not going to ask that question.
I kind of want to text him right now.
Oh,
do you want to talk about TV?
Yeah. You want to jump into the episodes? You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. First up is Stargirl, Season 1, Episode 6, The Justice Society. Pat told Courtney she had to take all the Justice Society gear back from her friends. Crusher Croc and Paula Brooks buried another football coach and got called back into service as Sportsmaster and Tigress. Barbara was excited that Mike used his Halloween candy to make a volcano for the science fair. Last minute reveal, Icicle ordered his fellow villains to find out exactly who is running around dressed like the JSA.
Okay, real talk. Is this show sponsored by Pop-Tarts?
Yeah. I really enjoy the Mike stuff because it has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the episode. And it's
absolutely, there's not even a thematic, we're not learning the same lessons that everybody else is. He's just off in a science fair straight from the 1980s, just doing his thing.
Yeah. Yeah, let's for no reason. I feel like all of this heavy superhero stuff. Let's check in with the 10-year-old getting into trouble.
Although I do think that's really, I'm selling the show short because as Courtney and Pat bond, it allows it to where he's not just, the son is not being neglected. So we get to see the stepson bonding, which is nice. I'm glad that Mike has somebody, and I get it. I think that it leaves those two family members out in the cold as Pat tries to talk sense into Courtney, and she just ignores him because she's a child.
Yes,
I'm Team Pat. I'm extremely Team Pat. It is dangerous. You are children. Give back the expensive equipment. Team Pat.
Yes, yes.
I am too old for this show. Team Pat.
Yeah, and I think the whole Barbara and Mike stuff was really cool, just because in most other shows those characters would get sidetracked, to the point it's like, why did you hire these actors? And I do like that they're making an effort, even if they're not involved in the main story, to at least uh give them stuff to work with. And I I thought that whole volcano scene, yeah, and it also like, um it reminded me of like 8th grade when art class we had to make our own gingerbread houses. uh
Really?
oh
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. It was, it just, you get a box of graham crackers and some frosting, and you had to think about structural integrity and all that stuff. Um, and so it but the other thing is, you work so hard in building this project, and then it goes out, and I remember trying to, taking it home and trying to figure out, am I going to eat this?
Did you eat your art project?
Yeah, not the whole thing.
This was actually one of my two big hygiene problems with the episode this week, and one
Mm.
was, wait, he put his grubby hands all over that food to make that volcano. He carried it to school. Millions of people walked past it. He carried it home, and then the two of them just ate it? Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, no saran wrap, no.
Nope. Just toss it in the backseat of the car. Just carry it in, just dig in. Nope.
Yeah, I'm sure that will not age well over the years. But it was a different time.
Was it?
Yeah,
No, I agree. It was nice for them to have something to do. It was nice bonding. I think she was genuinely proud of him. I mean, just her real excitement when the lava started to flow. It was nice. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, and so we spent 5 minutes. Let's let's talk about the actual main story of this episode.
Do you feel like our superheroes survived that encounter with actual adult villains by the skin of their teeth?
Oh yes.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah. yeah. I really liked the action in this episode. I thought everyone's personal stakes were great.
Mm-hmm.
I really, if I had been Courtney, I wouldn't have tried to take the stuff away from those kids at school. I would have said, you need to come by and talk to my uncle after school.
Pat'll talk some sense into you.
Yeah. Well, not even that, because like she wasn't sure if she wanted to take away from it, but almost like if you want to keep this thing going, maybe a 3-on-1, to try to explain it and let him see, and you did get that accomplished by the end, where Pat saw, these, it's helping these kids, and that he could use their assistance. And the idea that they're going to be working together. I loved the bit at the end where Pat's turning it on her, and she's like venting all these frustrations. They wouldn't listen to me. They're crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Gee, sounds familiar.
I see what you did there.
I did want to shake them all when they're just tossing code names around at school and kind of having really open public conversations, and that's when I was reminded, yes, these are children.
Yeah. Beth needs a talking to. Beth needs to sit down and say, hey, listen, this is how it goes. Stop wearing the goggles around.
So I love Beth's enthusiasm and her brightness. I really enjoy that. But her best friend being an AI is even more sad than it was before. Right?
It is so Geordie LaForge. Like Come on.
Yeah, no,
You-
you're not wrong.
Mhm. Mhm. You remember that whole thing where he had the hologram of that one designer. It basically turned it into his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah, when I look back at Next Gen episodes, there was some stuff in there that I didn't get because I was really young, that as an adult I'm like, oh,
yeah. If you
Data
want some,
is
yeah,
fully functional. Interesting.
you want some fun exploring that stuff, check out a podcast called Star Trek: The Next Conversation.
Hmm.
Matt Meyer and Andy Secunda. I've mentioned it a couple times on the show, but yeah, they get into all of that. Uh, but yeah. Beth. And it was cool to see Yolanda and Rick hold their own against Sportsmaster and Tigress. Obviously they were outmatched, but they were able to hold their own. And I thought that fight was good. I do like that we finally confirmed, that Crusher Croc is Sportsmaster.
Uh-huh.
And those bad guys. Ooh, yeah. And now, Sarah, you're a college professor, so you don't. I'm assuming that you don't deal with parents that directly, but
Thank God, no. I'm sorry, I cannot speak with you because of privacy issues. FERPA, look it up. Yeah.
yeah. So, but man, could you imagine having to deal with those two?
Oh, Lord. That's the third coach in 2 seasons.
Yeah. And speaking of someone who's coached non-academic events, sometimes kids need discipline. It's just it's better for the team in the long run. But no. Um. So yeah. Cool stuff. I think that the team is really forming. And I like the way that they've developed all of these characters. And it's nice to see Pat. I like that Pat is on the same page as everybody now. And it's going to be interesting to see how the ISA responds to all of this.
Well, I think it's interesting that they took their time getting to that level. That I mean, the team seems to have come together, sort of, and now I assume Pat is going to try to train them and be the guardrail, I guess, the brakes if he possibly can. But they took their sweet time, and I think that's cool. It gave everybody time to breathe and get there, and that I always like that early finding yourself out, assembling, figuring it all out, and if you rush through that too much, that takes away some of the fun. So this has been really great. I do have to change my assessment. It's not just a Luke Perry vibe. It's Luke Perry meets Matthew Rhys.
Ooh,
right? Well, from The Americans? Yeah. That is that's a more accurate description of what I'm now not sure is going to be a love interest. Maybe it's just a team member. I don't know. But yeah, you got to have a modern sensibility there, and that's the Matthew Rhys thing. So anyway. Now, can we talk just quickly about The Gambler? Listening to Timber by Kesha featuring Pitbull. I wasn't expecting it. It's delightful because it's so terrible. I like Kesha, but that is a wretched song. It's perfect.
Okay. How does it rank up there with with Wong listening to all the single ladies in Doctor Strange? Is it?
Listen, if you play all the single ladies on a continuous loop for a week, I'm still like, no, I'll listen to it one more time. So that's how that compares.
Oh, I wasn't talking about. I wasn't saying that a song was bad.
Oh, as a character beat. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think it said equal things about equal people in exactly right. It said important things about characters in exactly the right way. So Wong listening to single ladies, cool. That's cool. The Gambler listening to Timber, yeah, no, that fits.
Yeah, yeah,
while
and
hacking the dark web.
yeah, 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 and you mentioned earlier. I do love how this show it has gone out, but we have had significant character building in each episode. How we get either a new character or a new element that's introduced, and we do feel like there's significant forward progress in every episode.
Hmm.
And yeah, looks like we're gonna start getting some significant bad guys soon.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking forward to it. Um,
yeah.
I like that the staff, Courtney's staff, sort of has its own music. I noticed that this week. That's fun.
Mm, yeah.
And can I just say the second moment of germ-based food horror I experienced was that sad birthday cake, which was a very sad scene. That waitress was just trying to be nice, and she made it worse. But then he blew out the candle, and all I saw was just droplets, Ed, just droplets everywhere.
Oof. Oh, that's right. I didn't even mention Icicle. Yeah, yeah. It was Icicle and uh, Cameron were um contemplating the anniversary of of mom's death. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was sad. Oh, yeah, you're right. That moment was so awkward. So
That
awkward.
poor waitress.
Also, like everyone's got to know who Jordan is in that town, and she's like, I gotta move now. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Was there any news for Stargirl?
Nope, not so
Mhm.
much.
All right, on to the big show starting this week, and that is Doom Patrol. Season 2 premiere. Fun Size Patrol. Our heroes found themselves an inch tall, living in a diorama, trying to figure out how to get big again and wondering what the heck was going on with the chief's daughter, Dorothy. Larry was still normal size, cooking miniature pancakes and getting shown flashbacks of his terrible parenting by the negative spirit. Rita tried to distract Vic from his night terrors by asking him to help her stretch. Jane was taking drugs and refused to let anyone up from the underground. Cliff was taking out his frustrations by brutally killing rats. Last minute reveal, Dorothy told the big scary voice in her head that her father wasn't dying and that she would not make the wish today. Doom Patrol, Season 2, Episode 2, Time Patrol. After ticking off everybody in the mansion, the chief came clean that he was dying, and Rita rallied Cliff and Jane to try and steal Continuinium from Dr. Time. Jane was still reluctant to let anyone up from the underground. Vic went to group therapy and made friends with a veteran named Ronnie. Larry went to his son Gary's funeral. Last minute reveal, on the road home, Larry became surrounded by a swarm of butterflies. Doom Patrol, Season 2, Episode 3, Pain Patrol. The Chief and Rita followed the butterflies to rescue Larry from a murder demon named Red Jack. Dorothy found herself alone in the house playing hide and seek with her friends. Vic and Ronnie hooked up, bro. Cliff dragged Jane to Florida and tried revealing himself to his daughter. Jane fell asleep in the bus and found herself in the underground for an intervention. Last minute reveal, Jane was trapped in a cage by the underground.
Okay, the show is back. That was so much.
Yeah. I miss this show so much. This was a lot of fun. All three of these episodes, and I'm I'm still kind of a little upset that we got all three at once. Man.
Kind of me too. I don't mean to be. I'm grateful, of course,
Mhm.
but I almost wish I'd had time to let these episodes breathe a little because it was a lot to slam through.
Yeah.
A gentle reimmersion might have been better. Glad it's back. A lot of fun. Missed them all. I forgot how you go to one character. I'm like, God, I love Rita so much. She's my favorite. Then we go to Larry. I'm like, God, I love Larry. He's my favorite. Cliff, God, he's my favorite. Oh, I like them all. So it was nice to be reminded of that. But it was a lot.
Yeah, and but I will say each episode told its own story. And I think could stand on its own. And you've really got to marvel at the narrative balance in all of these episodes. How, you know, pretty much you have 5 stories going all at once, and it doesn't feel like anyone's given short shrift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's this show's superpower. I think is keeping you invested in everybody in a really shockingly effective, efficient way.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, I'm just looking at. Do you want to do this episode by episode, or maybe story arc by story arc?
My notes are episode by episode, but I can follow along story arc wise, whichever you want to do. I will follow your lead.
Well, okay, so let's start with the chief.
Okay.
The chief and Dorothy. Um, so yeah. So the chief basically, um, in order to grow again, has to give away his talisman, and now he's slowly turning into the 139-year-old that he really is.
And they talk about it like he's not there and he can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, and first off, he's been a horrible father, by locking his daughter away for a century, 90 years, something like that. But seeing him get those moments to interact with her, and I think it's a strange choice, that to me it's a strange choice that Dorothy is 100 years old, and she's in the body of a small child, but that she's still intellectually, a small child. It seems like an interesting choice here, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, she still feels childlike, which I enjoy because she is her powers are interesting. Good God, what is that robot faceless woman? Why does she bother me more than the giant spider? I don't know. And yet, the introduction to her, the opening of the season with that horrific exploration of how the chief found her was great. It was what a nice way to, not nice, it was horrific, but to kick off the character, the themes of the season. And what a great actress. When it's a kid, you never know. And she's fabulous.
Yeah, and to see her friends, you find out she has these imaginary friends, and that they're actually real, and they will appear to other members that do patrol from time to time. Rita taught her how to make French toast. I think that was probably good French toast. For a second, it seemed like the chief was putting on a face. Yeah.
But no, I think it was good. I feel like Rita knows her way around French toast. He seemed genuinely perturbed to be interrupted. Which I would be too. I got this French toast. It can wait. Whatever it is.
Yeah. And we still haven't found out, what do you think the wish is?
I don't know, but I am into it.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird. Whatever it is, it's going to be weird.
Yeah, I feel like it's something like it's got to be like a complete reality reset. Like it's the ether, man. It's yeah, like it's got to be something really, really crazy, and dangerous, and yeah, I can't wait to see her make it. I feel like she get blocked into a corner and make that wish.
I also am really grateful that nobody forgot what the chief did to them all. You know, that they're still
Oh yeah.
dealing with that reveal and it's not being glossed over. And yet, I think it speaks volumes about the team that they're like, well, guess we got to help though. Right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a good way to transition into Cliff, who seems the angriest of them all.
I mean,
Uh
fair. He always is.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, he seems really antagonistic. He made the chief sit and record on tape exactly why he did everything he did. And he's, Cliff still isn't satisfied with his answers. And also, in the whole incident with the rat, where he's throwing cheese to the rat, and then Dorothy takes that as a cue and gets into trouble. And then Cliff decides to drive to Florida and try to reconnect with his daughter, and that goes south pretty
That
quickly.
was awful. I did enjoy him destroying his own bus. It's my bus.
I love that the cops. Well, it is his bus,
I mean, he's got a point. I did feel bad for his daughter. I mean, yeah, that was hard to watch.
Mhm.
And hard
Yeah.
to watch him watching it and kind of realize what he'd done. So, but
Yeah.
as always, Brendan Fraser curses like with the gusto of a sailor who's a little tipsy and has been spending time with his grandma and is finally out of that situation and can just unleash his language again. It's
Yeah.
poetry. It's beautiful poetry.
Although he's got to stop doing it around Dorothy. The
He
chief
really
did have
does.
a point.
He
Yeah,
really does.
chief did have a point. And all right, let's talk about his friend, his sidekick on that journey, Jane. Yeah, the whole shooting up thing. I don't like to see her do that.
No.
No.
Now, let me ask you, was that the first time we'd seen some of those actresses playing those personalities? Or did I just not remember?
We did. I mean, we spent a whole episode in the underground last season. We did see a lot of those people. There
I
may be
felt like the rom-com persona was a new actress. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten all of their names other than Hammerhead. We'd seen the Hammerhead actress before, but
Yeah.
some of them felt a little bit. But that could just be my faulty memory. It's been so long since we saw season 1. But it was great.
Yeah, it was the same actress who plays Jane. You're talking about the.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, the same
yeah.
actress. No, I'm saying the personas in the underground that wasn't that actress playing those personalities in the underground. Those were all different women, I thought.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
It was
the
dark.
only.
It was dark
Yeah.
on the screen and sunny outside, so it was a little hard for me to see
Mhm.
in certain instances. But
Yeah, the one exception to that is the rom-com one, the one who thinks he's in a rom-com.
Mhm.
That is still the same actress
okay.
who plays Jane. Yeah, and yeah, it is so weird what's going on with that character, because you would think, yeah, you probably want to move on and live a life without these multiple personalities. And the fact that they're fighting, and the fact that like I'm not sure whether like I want them to take over, or for him to let them up every once in a for Jane to let them up every once in a while. Yeah, it's tricky. The one flashback to when she was a kid, and that baptism with the snakes and everything, and when Miranda first took over, that I found very moving.
Yeah, I remember going into this show, period, full stop, a little skeptical about what this character. I was worried it would be a little frenzied, manic pixie dream girl type, but no, she's great, and I think the locking her in the underground and letting the other personalities out in upcoming episodes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also moving to transition, and this is so much. This is the cyborg storyline. Is something like I feel like most other shows would just have that character disappear for 3 episodes. And the fact that he's completely disconnected from the group in episodes 2 and 3, and has his own storyline with that character Ronnie. you know, which was hard to watch at times. But to see that chemistry that they had, and at the end when she emails him her military record, and then he walks out of that cheesesteak place was sad.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I, Ordinarily, he's the character I struggle to connect with the most, but this storyline, like you say, it was so removed from everything else that's happening, but it was compelling, and it was, yeah, it was good. I also thought the group, the therapy group, was very chill about having a literal cyborg in their midst. I feel like that might have been a little harder for everyone, but everybody's like, no, it's fine.
yeah.
We're here. It's fine.
Yeah. Also, the whole conversation of like you've got to turn off your camera. I found that intriguing. And Sarah, you're the romance novelist in us. Do you want to comment on those love scenes?
It was nice. I actually thought the consent was very good. The "can I touch you?" I thought they were very careful with each other and very thoughtful and considerate. Good communication. I do have a question about how much of Cyborg is Cyborg exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it fluctuates sometimes. Even there's concerns where the older he gets, the more cybernetic parts he needs. Yeah, that is something that they've explored in the comics quite a bit.
But no, I thought that was there was the honesty and the way they were able to laugh about it. Like, are you asking me if this is not my first time? But then the honest moments of, but since everything, yeah, so it was really lovely. It was good. So was it involuntary manslaughter that flashed across her records?
Yeah.
Is that what we? Yikes!
Yeah.
Yikes! So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But for her, I would say for her to expose herself to him like that was, boy, that's vulnerable. That takes a lot of trust. So that was, I don't know. I think he's always been a little hard, which is strange. It's hard for me to connect with emotionally, which is we see what he went through just like everybody else. But this just really kind of elevated that for me. So that was really well done.
Yeah, and we do see he has a very strong sense of law and order. And she challenged that, the whole scene with the mugger. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That well done. You made me care about a character who I've always been a little like, why is he here? So good.
Yeah, and another character who had some really tender moments, and got tortured in the third episode was Larry. Negative Man.
Larry. He just breaks my heart just by everything he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think his character arc is so steep in these 3 episodes, where he's basically comic relief trying to make those teeny tiny pancakes.
I would watch a whole season of miniature cooking with Larry Trainer.
I just want like a 25-minute YouTube video of him trying to prepare all those individually.
That and the mini campground, all of it was just, I mean, it took me back to the dizzying heights of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah, I said it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Incidentally, are you familiar with the video series where they have miniature food prepared for a hamster?
No.
Okay, if you dug this, I will see if I can dig it up and I'll try to tweet it out. Somebody who prepares, lovingly prepared with tiny little implements, food for a hamster that then they feed him like fancy, or her. I don't know. I respect its privacy. Yeah, it's delightful. I will find a link. So if you like it, Google mini hamster food. I assume God, I don't know what that'll turn up. The internet's a terrible place.
Has he been featured on John Oliver's show?
Probably that feels like a John Oliver thing.
Yeah. I think there's something. He definitely has had a hamster, featured a hamster on the show before.
Tiny hamster eating.
Yeah.
It's Tiny Hamster. They make burritos. They make a tiny little Thanksgiving dinner. It's all the things. Tiny hamster eating. Just Google it.
um but yeah, and yeah, those really really harsh flashbacks of I mean, the kid was wrong that, you know, the rocket propulsion is meant to be on the inside. But
Oh, yeah, when so this season is all about parenting, obviously, and how we fail our children and how we make amends or can't make amends, and that was brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the second episode, there's not that much in the second episode of him, but going to the funeral, and his other son figuring out who he is,
Mhm.
and that moment in the barn, um, and I almost wondered, like, did when Paul saw, you know, caught him through the window going out leaving the barn, did he think for a moment to go after him? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then in the third episode after he's captured, those as the bandages are coming off, and you know, when Rita tries to rescue him and you realize, you know, that the radiation is affecting her immediately, and you realize just how dangerous he is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was frightening. So Larry was all over the place in these 3 episodes.
I loved seeing the start of his relationship with Rita because I've always enjoyed their sort of quiet, unquestioned support of one another. And so seeing where that came from was very cool. And oh my God, when he said he was a fan of hers, like he watched her movies and he saw her pain, that quiet pain, that
Mm,
just. I have always been all in on those two individually and together, but that, uh, so good, so good.
yeah,
And
and yeah, they really earned that hug in their last
yes,
scene.
they did. Yes, they did. Rita's always been my girl. She is my favorite of all my favorites because they're all my favorites. And I just love that she's trying. She's trying to be a hero. She's trying to do it. Oh, Rita.
Yeah, and she really took on a motherly role in these episodes,
Hmm.
and I do like that that someone in the group is trying to keep a positive attitude and to focus on getting the job done. All right,
Yeah.
this is a problem. What are we going to do to fix it? You know, we can't spend time skulking around and feeling sorry for ourselves. No pity party here. We've, you know, what can we do? And that the second she hears about continuinium,
Okay.
um,
Yeah, we have not talked about the roller skating disco clock head of it all.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Time.
He still smells it. Smell it like that. He didn't change his spelling. Really. If you were a new viewer you've just subscribed to HBO Max and you're like, I'll check it out. I'll just skip season 1 and just dive straight in. What did you think when Dr. Time was on the ground with his clock brains spread everywhere?
Oh my god.
Were you all in, or did you turn off the TV, stare at the wall in silence for a little bit, and then move on with your life? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because I know this show so well, it was more like, oh my god, they did it. They actually did that. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
But like, you can't explain that scene to someone who hasn't watched the show before.
I watched it and I still can't explain it.
Yeah. There's a guy with a whose head's shaped like a clock, and he's a time traveler, and they're in a roller rink playing disco. And yeah, and then the lady with stretchy hands just like pulls his head apart, his brain comes flying out.
And then she puts his clock hands backwards and puts them back together again like Humpty Dumpty.
Yep.
As you do.
Yeah, and and you know, again, like her going to make that sacrifice to save Larry. I was worried about her for a second, you know, just seeing her melt from all that radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad it worked out. And yeah, she real winner, really the heart of this team.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. I love Rita. Can we talk about the butterfly wings really quickly? Because oh my god.
Yeah, that was scary. That was and the third episode, because Red Jack is you find out that Niles met him when he was Jack the Ripper.
Fun bit of trivia, that young Niles was played by Abigail Shapiro, who's playing his daughter.
Yes, I did
I thought
see that.
That was cool.
yeah, that was cool. And Red Jack was I mean, as fun and quirky as Dr. Time is, Fun Jack is a terrifying villain. Really, really scary.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Almost Guillermo del Toro monster-ish. Did you get that vibe like I did?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He would fit right in with Pan's Labyrinth.
Yes.
Real.
Yes.
Mhm.
Also, this is a super deep cut for the real nerds out there, but Scott Lynch's fantasy series, the Lies of Locke Lamora series, I swear to God, it looked like the people on the cover of book 3, The Republic of Thieves. That's it. If anybody out there is also a Scott Lynch fan, maybe you had a flash of, that looks like those masked people on the, but much, much, much more terrifying. So it was, I liked him because it gave me pleasant associations with other pop culture. And then I hated him because he was stabbing people in the eye with forks. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
that was intense. And the idea that he felt like Niles could be his protege was...
and Niles was just like, decline courteously.
It's gonna be a hard pass.
Nah, bro, it's you, not me.
And it's funny because as far as Niles goes, you think about his oh god, the fact that this guy thinks Niles could be a killer, and you realize oh no, Niles has ruined all of these characters' lives.
Well, yeah, I mean, Niles is kind of that guy. He just feels bad about it. He's got better teeth. That's all.
Yeah.
So that was, I didn't expect Baroque operatic pain torture guy, and yet of course that's what we got.
And when Rita and Larry free those butterflies at the end of that felt very satisfying.
Always. Oh, and quick shout out to my guy Mark Shepard for returning as British magician who is not Constantine and is not Crowley from Supernatural, but somehow is both of those things. Mark Shepard makes everything better.
Yes, Willoughby Kipling, and
I don't think.
I don't think we've seen the last of him. And how long do you think before? Let's just get the talisman back.
Yeah, that is Chekhov's gun. If you see a talisman that's bartered away in the first episode of the season, it's gonna come back, right? Before the first episode of the season.
Yeah. And also, Mr. Nobody is still stuck in that painting.
Oh, you know what? This was so busy, I barely even missed Alan Tudyk, but I did miss Alan Tudyk.
Yeah. And I don't think he's going to be in this season.
No, he had said, we had reported on that a while ago, that he's not destined to be back, but it's too bad. He could have recorded voiceover work. Hello.
But I think if he records voiceover, then you expect it, and I didn't miss it as much.
I mean, really, same.
Yeah. As much fun as it was last season, if he's not the main villain, it doesn't really make sense for him to be mustache twirling. And I think that these 3 episodes were all well written enough that they didn't need it. Doom Patrol's back. We're gonna get 6 more of these. So
we're gonna settle into a 2 episode a week situation for a while.
Yeah, with two very different shows on DC Universe.
Oh my god, yes. Only one of them will feature a robot man wearing a rat as a cloak. Squeak, squeak, motherfucker.
Frickin' Ben Stiller with the panda skin in Tropic Thunder.
Well, I do not know how to top that. So are we, is that,
That's
what I wanted to say about these episodes.
Yeah. All right. So let's move into news for other shows.
All right. We have 3 shows that have some news this week. Let's start things off with Legends of Tomorrow. I feel like this bit of news sort of makes official something we kind of all knew, but Maisie Richardson Sellers will not be back next season to the show. Which, how many times has she said goodbye to the show?
At least twice, probably 3 times.
And in the past, we knew, I mean, at least going into 2 seasons ago, we knew she'd be back as some undisclosed character. This time, they're serious, y'all. They're serious. She's not coming back. So I guess we'll see if she comes back.
Mm-hmm.
I get a sense that they love working with her, but maybe, and I'll miss her. She was great. I really like Charlie.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You know, she's off doing important things now. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving over to Netflix with Lucifer. Hey, let's talk about the good news of the week. All right. Season 5, the first half, drops August 21st on Netflix.
Yay!
We haven't dated so far away. But we will, of course, be looking forward to that and bringing you all that goodness when it comes. And
yeah.
Hey, guess what? We're getting a season 6.
Yay! Yay! And it is perfect because Doom Patrol ends 2 weeks before that, and then Stargirl ends the week before it. So it's just after all of these other shows are done. We could have that one weekend to just focus on the 8 Lucifer episodes.
Good times. Yeah, it feels like it has been an age. It's really only been about a year, but yeah. Yeah, and so season 6 they are touting as the final season for real, for serious, for real. And you know what? I believe them because they can play up the 666 numerology, and they probably don't want to move on to 7. Like that would be against the brand. So I trust them. And I suspect that means they're going to have to rewrite whatever they had planned for the finale of season 5, you know, and I hope that means that they're going to give us some satisfying, it better be a love story centric resolution. That's all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then a tiny bit of casting news that is interesting to anybody who is as Supernatural, the TV show, positive as I am. Hey, Rob Benedict is going to guest star in the second half of season 5 as a French mercenary. Rob Benedict, of course, played Chuck on Supernatural. Spoiler for Supernatural later seasons coming in 3, 2, 1. We find out, of course, that Chuck is God. So that's character plays God on a show about, you know. So that's kind of fun. The episode's going to be directed by Richard Speight Jr., who plays the trickster on Supernatural / Gabriel. So they have worked together. Rob and Richard have worked together quite a bit on Supernatural, and then off camera in the web series Con Men, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, that was just a fun little thing for Supernatural fans like me. We're going to see Rob Benedict. His buddy Richard is directing. Yay! Let's get to that Lucifer goodness in August. I'm not saying get here faster because I want the summer to last, but you know, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is exciting. Like I'm glad this is dropping, and it's the perfect time. Perfect time.
It is. It is nice that all the DC TV is working out for us so well. It's very thoughtful. I remember Lucifer dropping last year in the middle of a million other DC shows, and it was a lot.
Yeah, and my hand was busted that weekend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did all those episode summaries, didn't I?
You did. Yeah, you did a great job.
Well, thank you. I also recap for EW, so hopefully I'll get to do that again. But it's going to be a lot of Lucifer. Last little bit of news then is for Why the Last Man.
Why music?
And that is that the show will move from FX, the terrestrial network, to FX on Hulu. So it's going to be a streamer.
Okay. I can't say I'm surprised. It feels like a lot of FX's more genre type content has been moving to FX on Hulu, devs and the like.
And it's treated well at Hulu. It has its own tab. You know, like Disney Plus, I think, does it best. That they have the Star Wars, the Marvel, the National Geographic. You can see the different property tabs. Hulu I hate their interface. I find it really hard to use, but there is an FX tab if you search for it, and you can find all the shows there. So in terms of a streaming home, it could be worse. I don't mean to sound like I'm damning it with faint praise, but it is an interesting identity to have that FX is trying to craft, because we're all cord cutting, right? If we haven't already. So
yeah. I mean, FX may not exist in 10 years on cable. I'm sure it will.
Cable may not exist in 10 years on cable.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think this is exciting. And brings it a little close to the idea that this might actually happen. Still don't believe it. But
I still am not going to hold my breath. Thank you. I will say, in case anybody doesn't know, FX on Hulu is one of the things that you get with your subscription. Yeah, it's not like you have to do the add-on subscription like you would with a Showtime or an HBO or whatever. So that's good.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So yeah, that's it for the news, right?
Yes, that's it.
All right, on to our winners for the week. Sarah, you and I might have the same winner.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't always think that, but I'm wondering if I feel like maybe we've zeroed in on the same dynamic this week. Do you want me to go first?
Well, I'll go first. And my winner this week is Rita Farr. Is that your winner?
It's so close to that. It's Larry and Rita's friendship. So I think we can kind of do this together.
Yes. Yeah. And I talked about it in the recap. I thought Rita was excellent through all of these 3 episodes, and is really the core keeping this group together, and focused on task. And I thought in that 3rd episode, her story arc with Larry talking about how their friendship grew was really, really heartwarming.
Her brittle persona, she seems so rigid and so clipped, but she's so warm and caring and so much, as you say, the glue that keeps everybody together. That's so important. And then to see where she and Larry started from and how they got to be the kind of friends where they can argue, but it comes from a place of love and support, and their disagreements are respectful, and they just, to see how that started and to see how she worked with him, it's just it was wonderful. Oh, Rita, bless up.
Yeah. All right, so that's our winners for the week. Sarah, we did an episode.
We did a big episode. Four episodes. Yay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So so this is gonna be the regular for the next 6 weeks. We're gonna get a Doom Patrol and a Stargirl. So DC Universe really, really hitting the mat. They have a CW show and an HBO Max show. So
wherever you watch, join us to talk about it.
All right, so that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Lil Eddie O'Hare.
I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!